Hello and welcome to the next part of First Chords with me, Tom. We're going to learn the last couple of open chords, basic open chords, and then we're going to learn bar chords. And everybody who begins playing guitar loves learning bar chords, because it's your first major hurdle. It's not as hard as you think, and once you are comfortable with playing them, a whole world of options for playing chords will open up, and you'll understand the guitar better and the neck of the guitar better and how it works, guitar music in general. But first we're going to learn these last couple of basic open chords that everybody should know, starting with an obvious one, which is C. And how you play a C is you take your ring finger, you place it on the 5th string on the 3rd fret to sound the C note. You then take your middle finger, you place it on the 4th string on the 2nd fret. That's a little bit of a stretch, but you take your index finger and you hold down the 2nd string, the 2nd string on the 1st fret. Yeah, that's right. So we have this shape, and it should sound like this. Remember, just to play the 5 strings, we don't play the low E string, the 6th string, and that's C. Right, the next chord is another one that's not very tricky, but it's a nice chord. It's one of my favourite chords, and it is a D minor. To play D minor, you want to take your index finger, place it on the 1st string, 1st fret. Then you want to take your ring finger and stretch across and place it on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And your middle finger goes on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And then if you remember, the 4th string open is a D. It's a D note, it's the bass D note for the D chords. If you strum them 4 strings, you will get a D minor. I like the sound of that chord. That's D minor. So, we're now on to the part that people start to find tricky. The next chord we're going to learn is an F. Now, I will show you the shape of the F first before explaining how to structure it, because I want you to notice something about the F. So this is an F. Right. Now forget about this finger for a second. If we just play this, right? If we slide it back, if you look at that shape, it looks like it's the same shape as an E, but it's played with different fingers. There's the E with these fingers, but you can play it with these fingers. So what you want to do is make an E shape with these, instead of with these 3 fingers, with these 3 fingers. And you want to make that E shape on the 3rd fret. So you take your ring finger, you place it on the 3rd fret on the 5th string. Your little finger we place underneath it on the 4th string, still on the 3rd fret. Then we use our middle finger, we place it on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And here's the tricky part. We then have to bar 2 strings, and that means holding them down together with 1 finger. So you go to the 1st fret, and the 1st and 2nd string we hold down with the tip of the finger like this. So we hold them both down together. And if you strum that from the 5th, the whole thing, you will get an F. And now it might take you a while. You should try to keep your hand flat like this. If you can see my hand's kind of flat, holding the chord down, with your thumb behind the neck, at the back of the neck, behind your fingers, to like clamp it down. Now you'll probably find that a little bit uncomfortable at first, and you should practice it a lot. Quite a few people struggle with it. It's reasonably tricky. It can be a stretch on your hands. It can be hard to hold all the strings down with the right pressure, but eventually you'll get it. You want to practice that F. The next chord we're going to learn is a full bar chord, because we haven't touched upon any B chords yet, so I think we should learn B minor. If we could play an E this way, and we can also play an E with the other 3 fingers, the same can be said for an A minor. You make the A minor shape, you can also make the A minor shape with the other 3 fingers. And to play B minor, where you need to make this shape is on the 4th and 3rd frets. So what you want to do is you take your ring finger and you place it on the 4th string on the 4th fret. Your little finger goes underneath it on the 3rd string on the 4th fret. Your middle finger goes on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And here's the tricky part. So you're making an A minor shape on the 4th. What is the tricky part? You now have to hold down all 6 strings with your index finger. Now, if you notice, we've already got 3 strings covered, so basically the only ones we need to worry about sounding are the 5th, the 6th, and the high E, the 1st string. You've got to make sure you hold them all down, but those strings have got to ring out. You've got to make sure they're held down. And we get this. If you play all 6 strings, we get a B minor. Now if you notice this shape with the full bar, we can now go back and have a little look at that F chord. So if you remember the F chord, we were making the E shape with the other 3 fingers, and we were holding the 2 strings down. Now if you bar the whole of that 1st fret with this index finger, you notice it's the same. We're still holding the 2 strings down with the bottom of the finger, but we're also holding the E string down, the 6th string down on the 1st fret, and that note is an F. That bass note is an F. So this is a full F bar. It's the same as that, but we're throwing the bass note in as well. Yeah. Now what we're basically doing here by barring is, you see this part of the guitar that the strings go through, that is called a nut. And when we are barring the strings, our finger is acting as a nut. So we're shortening the length of the neck, kind of. Now, if you remember what I was saying about when we were playing the F, it's like an E shape but slid up. This. Right? So you take your finger off and slide back, we've got an E. Now this 6th string opens E. If we just play the next note along on the 1st fret, it's an F. The next note on the next fret is F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, back to E. If you look on most guitars there, on that 12th fret, there'll be 2 dots. The 2 dots tells you that from beyond that point, everything is an octave. From that point and onwards, everything is what we call an octave higher. So we have the E string, and we play it again on the 12th. It's another E that's an octave higher. Now, to explain the bar chords, when I was saying we use this finger as the nut, we have the E with the guitar nut acting as a nut. And once we move to the 1st fret, our finger acts as the nut, and that's an F. F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, there's no B sharp, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. I hope you understand that you have all them chords opened up to you now just by barring. And it's the alphabet with sharps, and all you need to remember is there's no E sharp, it goes E, F, and there's no B sharp, it goes B, C. The rest is sharps. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. And beyond that point it repeats E, F, F sharp, G, and so on. On top of that, if you remember, if we were playing the E with the other fingers, the second shape, the second set of fingers for E. If you remember, for the E minor, we just take the 1st finger off, this finger off. So now I've got E minor, and the same principle applies. E minor, F minor, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor, A minor. Now if you remember, we had the A minor. Well, if you go to the 5th fret with that bar there, we found the A note along, which is on the 5th. You play the bar, and then we take the finger off, like we would take the finger off for an E minor. A minor, A minor. What's more is if we were playing the A minor with those fingers, but we played them with these fingers, like we did for the B minor, we've got A minor, upper fret, A sharp minor, and there's the B minor that we learned. B minor, A sharp minor, A minor, A minor, A sharp minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, and so on. And if you remember, that A was the bass note for the A minor. So the 2nd string down, which is the A string, works in exactly the same way. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, and so on. And it's not a great stretch to imagine what comes next on the 4th string, which is a D. D, D sharp, E, F. And remember, that note's also an F, so if you play the 2 together, they should harmonise. It's the same note, just a different pitch. And all the strings work the same way. So that's slightly more complicated, but I hope it wasn't too convoluted, and I hope I explained it reasonably well. Introduction into bar chords. So good luck.